interesting questions that have been asking all these days is that especially in the 216, around 215 216 this time, many people come to ask me they saying that, oh, David, I've seen your videos and you have many teachings. Why is there you insisting in the true gospel? I was just saying that if we are bound by religious spirits, okay, if we were too into a man-made religion, say, it might not be um, it might not be good for you. As my previous Cantonese videos, many videos are in Cantonese, so you all may not read it. So this one I gotta do it in English. Okay, so why is that so? Is that if you have last time the society, okay, last time the society educations internet are not so accessible. Okay, many things are not so well established. So this is why, right, it is very painful for us to have full understandings of the society. So there might be a need for some shortcut stuff. For example, if we teach the child when they are yet to be in the age of understanding the time, so we might need to give them some reasons, okay, to help them to behave in some way. So until the time that they slightly grow up the time, but still not yet up to their understanding. Okay, so I believe most of our Chinese, right, we will do something like we'll find some excuse or reasons to let them to hook on the belief first, so they will behave accordingly. Okay, so until they grown up the time, they start need to learn about the why, and only until they are convinced with the why, then they will believe in that behave in that way. Okay, so as we can see that human is different from animals or most of animals. I don't know. Okay, animals are actually quite nice. Okay, I think I just drop it. Okay, humans have one special idea is that are we do we have our understanding, then we come to act accordingly. So we all know that like a lot of people are challenging about the gospel and all these things, right? They are mixed up with religions and the gospel, or rather, the religions and truth. Okay, you see, this is the big difference. So are we into the understanding, okay, or does God want us to have the understanding so that our belief will change our behavior, and our behavior will affect your family and the world. Okay, so believing right is a essential thing about a human being. Okay, on the other hand, right, people are complaining, and there's a lot of things about religious. They believe that religious is to help us to manipulate our thinking so that we got to behave ourselves. I can't deny that in the days of 70s or 80s, okay, that time, as you know that internet information is not so easily accessible, and even the book of Bible is it's a bit hard to reach. It's not like everybody can have one Bible at home, all this stuff. 60 70 80 those days, okay, so and that time people will not ask too much of why, okay? Too many whys, okay, so maybe just use something, or at least we just help them to think, so we give them something to hook on their faith. Okay, but now the world is different. Every time you search the internet at time, or you realize that, hey, that's not what the Bible is saying, hey, that's not Apostle Paul is saying, then we have the thinking about, huh, are you speaking the truth? Is the people talking about the things is really from the Bible, or they're using the verse from the Bible to support their own thinking? Is it really the word of God? Okay, so that's why we end up to triangular deities. Okay, so the kind of things like you believe in external deity or self deity, you yourself feeling a thing, or a system as a deity. Okay, like a lot of rules and regulations. This is God. All these things as if like God is not moving, okay? Or otherwise you just scared that God is a third party, okay, like the things that's following you, all these things, and then otherwise you just say that I'm feeling I'm this and that is self deity. So human being only can look in these three areas. Okay, that's what I was preaching in Cantonese last time. So what's the thing that I want to change, or what I want to say is that what's the gospel of Jesus Christ. Okay, so now I think it's the time, okay, when we can access the information to know the truth. And when you stick to the truth, at least you got to know, okay, know the truth, understand we are living in the world of politics, okay, and then you choose your own path. It's better than you understand this, or just otherwise it's just like we don't know anything. Okay, so I've come up with this book, like same as the last book I wrote. Okay, I've written. The Chinese book was like a limited editions of like a few hundreds. Okay, and then I just sold it off to my friends, and then they each one get a copy. Okay, thankful to them. And then, well, I just stop it. Okay, because anyway, I'm not in the obligations of earning any merit point from God. Our righteousness is still by the blood itself. Okay, so just try my best to come up with help something for everyone. Okay, so let's start with my first book in English. Okay, this is my second book. So this book I will call it Onto the True Gospel. Onto the True Gospel. Is there a true gospel? I think yes. Okay, everything from the Bible, I think there is at least an author. So I believe that there's somebody can define the first true gospel. I don't care about how the rest is doing it. Okay, but I before we do that, right, I'll just do it in a not very religious way. Okay, so let's do something fair. Okay, so if you want to make things fair, okay, I think you got to make things fair in both sides. Okay, not just the you're not into the Christians, okay, then you look at all these things, but you're not into the atheists to look for all these things. And if we are scientific enough, we should open our mind all the way, okay, to allow the chance of having a God, okay, to be in your considerations, okay, because you want to be fair, you got to be fair, absolutely, right? You can't say there's no lah. So before I do this, right, I got to I will say this, okay, so we have a professional entity as students, okay, so I'm not saying I'm a professor, so let's just humble myself to be a student, truly learning students, that I don't understand all these things, and now I'm trying to understand all this, okay. So we need to have a little bit of professional attitude. First things, okay, we got to be truly logical person, truly logical, okay. So if I can establish a logic, yes and no, okay, you want to counter my logic, you got to do the yes and no for it, okay, and then I will counter your logic, okay, and then you got to be fair, okay. So if I got A and not A, but if I have a evidence of A, if I don't have non evidence that A doesn't exist, okay, so you got to say that this one have evidence, that one don't have evidence. So maybe in a fair comparison, I think I should probably a little bit believe in more in this way. Okay, I don't need you to be truly think this way. Thirdly, anything you believe or anything that you make a conclusion, you always have an open mind. Doesn't matter about, wow, is it really ultimate truth or not? What is ultimate truth? Think about it. Okay, if you complain about this ultimate truth, okay, then what are you doing in physics, right? When we are doing the Newton laws, the time, okay, we all know that Einstein came out the relativity, the Newton's laws may not hold in all cases. It's not ultimate truth, right? And when we do about the chemistry, atomic models, all this stuff, right? In O level time, what we learn the model is so different from A level time already, okay? But there's always a reason for us to enhance, get more accurate to truth. But it is the laziness of people refuse to accept simple stuff, primary stuff, enhance to secondary stuff. They will never be able to get even anything closer to the truth. Okay, as a human being, I believe that it is fair to have a student attitude that we will just try to get it more true, closer to true, believe the best as we can, humble ourselves as really human. Okay, so I believe that that's a very nice way. Okay, and if hey, I was say if God exists, I believe that He loves us to get closer to the truth also. He's trying to give us, if God exists, right, He will be trying to help give us the guidance to get closer to Him. Then we will just try our best to walk all the way. You see, it is the same thing as a teacher and a student, okay? Teacher would try his best to help you to get closer to the truth, okay? And student will try his best to learn all the way until the truth, okay? So Well, I believe that that makes sense. Okay, so if there is God and if God want us to understand Him, I think this makes sense also. So see how much He can help and how much we can walk all the way, and we can get together. We be a truly logical person. Okay. Second entity is that as the student studying ancient history, okay, this one we got to be very careful. Okay, we can't we can't be like we can't ask the historical artifact to give us 100% of confidence of total integrity, and then it is worth for us to study. So that means you can't say that, oh, it is not absolute, so we don't study. That is laziness. Okay, anything about ancient history, or even if God exists, right? If we want to understand something, any glimpse of informations, we should cherish it, get the best as we can, get as fair as we can, and try to be humble. Okay, we got to really learn to it, then we will understand it. It's not like you just use the word of doubt to doubt it and then just throw the whole thing away. Okay, because any piece of artifact, it is the only thing you can left. It's the only thing we left. Okay, so if we just deny the only thing we left, okay, we just yeah, kind of things like we can't really see the truth. Okay? For example, if you say I am if says that I'm an ancestor from some China province, okay, so if I have some piece of evidence, that's the best I can have. Okay, if you always doubt, always disbelieve, right, you can never find it. But the idea of never be able to find it or get closer to it is due to our entity, is, or rather I should say stupidity. That's not wisdom. Okay, so we should cherish every piece of information, then get the whole picture, try to dilute it with the background at the time, okay, with any piece of information, okay, try to get as close as we can. Okay, this is a way to have ancient history. That's the way that we learn from it. Okay, that's the best way we can do already. Otherwise, we can do nothing. Okay. The third thing is about a scientific person. Being a scientific person, we cannot be biased. Okay? On the other hand, we can't be superstitious in anything. We can't be superstitious about science also. Okay. Why? Why I say so? Simply, in science, we can have high confidence of believing things in existence. Okay. But that is very hard. It's very hard to say that we believe in not having anything. Okay, you can't prove something doesn't exist in science. Okay, really prove, but we can prove, or rather have high confidence on things that exist if we can find it, theoretically predict it, and practically found it. Okay, but we can never prove something doesn't exist. Okay, this is the true science. How can you prove anything that doesn't exist? within a scope in the whole universe, in all circumstances, in the earth, in deep down the sea, in any atomic, okay, or any life fiber, all these things, right? Anything that we can we really say that something doesn't exist? I think it is not very scientific actually. Okay, even though you talk to me about a dinosaur, I will challenge you. Dinosaurs is evidence that the gravity of a world is different. Okay, when the gravity of the world is different, the time frame is different. Okay, you could accept this is in the law of relativity. Otherwise, you got to explain to me how come the blood pressure and the heart can still pump with all the muscles with such a huge size of dinosaurs, yet still can run around and chase animals. Okay, for meal, and yet our elephant, the biggest landed animal, can only take vegetable. They can chase after the animal, okay, because of the size. Okay, why is that so? Okay, we'll explain all these things. You can't just say that, oh, these things that doesn't exist, and don't close the case, and we have all the theory there, unless you say that you are not actually scientific. Okay, so let's be scientific in all these things. So I think it's fair, right? Okay, so are you a believer, are you not a believer, it doesn't matter. Let's be fair. Okay, on the true gospel. Okay,